Hello everyone and welcome back to the second day of the web development course. And so what we're going to do is review what we learned in day 1 about HTML. Then we're going to look at actual websites on the web and we're going to look at the code and we're going to try to recreate those websites. Then after we can learn some new HTML attributes. Okay, so these are the 3 web dev languages. There's CSS. It takes care of the color, size, shape, and the font. And it's the purple in Purple Dino Dancing. And then there's HTML, the one we're learning right now, or hypertext markup language. It's the Dino, so it's the actual object. It's made up of lots of tags and elements, and it's made up of text, buttons, links, and images. And then, of course, there's JavaScript, which takes care of the actions. And we'll get into that in the later videos. These are HTML tags. So every HTML tag has a start tag and an end tag. And then there's a symbol inside. So in this case, it's a P. So that's a paragraph. And then between those tags, you have the text you want to show on the page. And then over here, there's some more symbols if you want. And there's bolded, italicized, etc. And then now there's an input tag. It also has a start tag and an end tag, except you don't put anything between the tags for text. You specify the type. So in this case, type is equal to text. And say you want to get the username. That'll work. And you can also have a color type. And you can also have a radio type, which just means multiple choice. So now we finish the review, we can go on and look at actual websites. So let's look at Wikipedia. You can double click, or if you're on Mac, you can click with 2 fingers. Then you can press inspect, and this will give you all the code of what they use. And you can see that they have paragraph tags here. And so this is a paragraph, this is another paragraph. And then they have text inside. If you double click, you can see the text that's inside here. And then you can see chicken. If you hover over chicken, yeah, you can see that that's a header. And then you can see there's lots of divs here. And you can see there's an href, which we'll learn later. So the first challenge is we're going to try to create this. You can go to your Replit account, open a new project, and you can try to create this chicken Wikipedia page. So just a few hints. The title is a H1 tag, so it's a header one. And then I already showed you these are paragraphs. And for this image right here, you can use an image tag. So you can see here, an image tag actually has no ending tag, and the symbol is IMG. So it has no ending tag. Then inside the beginning tag, you just put src, which is the link of the image. And then you can just copy the image address and paste it inside the src here. And that way you can have a chicken show up. Yeah, right here. It shows up right on your page. So this is the image tag, just to get you started. Now you can pause the video and try to figure this out yourself. So now for the solution. We can have a H1 of header. H1 that has chicken inside. And you can run it. And there, now it says chicken on top. Then we can have a paragraph tag. And then we can just have a lot of random text inside. I think you can do lorem times 8 times 7. Oh no. Times 7. Oh, that didn't work. Well, yeah, there's a lot of random text, and this should be the body of the Wikipedia page. And yeah, you have that. And that pretty much sums it up. Although we can make it look more like this, we can make it look better once we get into CSS. But for now, let's learn some new things. There's before we get farther on into the video, there's going to be a challenge at the end where we can create a form. So like a sign-in page where you can ask the user for a username, for a password, for their favorite animal or something like that. So now there's a label. A label goes with an input tag. So an input tag is something like this, where you can specify the type. And then this is something new. It's called an ID. An ID just defines an input. So in this case, we're going to call it username. And then with the input, we also need a label tag. And in the label, in the start tag of the label tag, we put 4 equals and then the ID of the input you want to use. So for example, this is input and the ID is username. So the label will be 4 equals username. So the label for username. And what this does is that once you click on the label, it also allows you to type inside the input. And we can see an example of this right now. If we just copy this and go to your Replit page and just paste this in, we have this. So if you click on username, the label, and you can see it allows you to type inside here. And if this wasn't a label, let's say if this didn't have a 4 equals username, then the code doesn't know which input it's for. So you click on username and you can see it doesn't allow you to type inside. So let's put that 4 equals username back. And these slides will be in the link in the description if you want to see them. And now we can look at the select tags. So the select tags is basically, it gives you a drop-down menu. And then you can have lots of options inside here. There's an option tag. And there's a select tag. And then inside the select tags, there's an option tag. And then each option tag has text in between. So this is what it shows on the page. In this case, it's dog. And each option tag also has a value. So the value is important because JavaScript will be able to use the value, and then you'll be able to use the value for different things, like say your favorite animal is dog, but without value, it won't know that this option is dog because there's no value. So we copy and paste this into Replit. Again, there's a start select tag, and then there's an end select tag, and then in between, there's a start option tag, and there's an end option tag. And then this option tag has dog, but right now there's only one option. So if you want multiple options, you can copy and paste this 3 times or as many times as you want and say fish or cat. So we just changed the value right now, and we can change the text in between fish and cat. So now you can see there's 3 different things that you can pick from. So that's a select attribute, a select element. And now we can move on to list. So list we can make in Google Slides here. For example, you can go over here and say bulleted list. So that's a type of list. This is called an unordered list because there's no numbers. So it's unordered and then unordered list. So the tag for this would be UL. But let's say we want an ordered list. So a numbered list. This would be a numbered list right here. And the tag for that will be OL, ordered list, because it's ordered. So right here, what we have is an ordered list. And each list has a list element inside. So what's inside the list? For example, we can say fish, I guess. So that's the first thing inside the list. Then we can copy and paste the list tag. And we can say dog. And we can see how that looks like in Replit. So again, there's a start ordered list tag. And then inside every ordered list tag, you want list elements. So what's inside the list? And now you have 1 fish and then 2 dog. And then you can keep making list elements like this. But say you wanted a bulleted list. Instead of doing OL, you would just put UL, unordered list. And now it worked too. So now we can go on to HTML links and buttons. Every button has a form, is wrapped around a form. So a form start tag and a form end tag and a button tag in between. So what this action means is that is what happens when you press the button inside the form. And we would actually have to create this. Home.html is a file. So you can go to add file right here and type in the name. So this is the name of the file dot and the language you're using. So in this case, we're using HTML, and you can press enter and that will create the file for you. So now this is a different HTML file. And we want the button in the form to lead to this HTML file, the home.html. So what we do is we say action equals home.html. I'm going to make this lowercase. And then the button inside the form will take you to that HTML file. And we can go to index.html. And we can say form action equals home.html. And then we can press the button. And now it says home. So this means that it brought us to this file right here. Because you can see in this file, there's a paragraph called home. And there's also something else that can do that, which is a link. And a link is an A tag. And there's an A tag. And then there's a href inside the beginning. And the href just brings you to what link you want to go to, or in this case, what file. So we can go back to index.html, and the code only reads index.html first. And if index.html brings you to other places, for example, home, then it's going to read that file too. So now we have an href here, which is a link. And then /a, so that's the end tag, and the text in between that says home. And now we have home button, home link here. You click it. Oh, that's because I accidentally put the quotation marks wrong. Yeah, okay. Now when you click home, it should work. Brings you to the same place as the button. And these are two different ways to do it, with the form and with the link. Now we can do today's challenge, which is to create a form that accepts usernames and passwords, and just you can make up your own question. And we can use the select attributes, we can use the input attributes, and we can use buttons. And then the button could bring you to the submission page. And you can pause the video right now. And the solution will be after. So how would we make a form? Well, in a form tag, it doesn't matter what you put inside. It only looks for the button text. So let's say you put a paragraph inside this form. If I click the paragraph, nothing's going to happen. It only looks for the button. So this can be useful because we can wrap our entire form inside this form tag. Now let's put the start tag here. And we already have the username question. And we already have the select question. Now we can make some more questions. I don't think we need this list element right now. And if you ever want to comment anything out, you can press Command/ or Control/ depending on your device. And this will comment it out, meaning that the code won't read this, but it's there if you want it. So now we can also make a password question, which should be similar to username. So I'm just going to copy this code, the label and the input. And instead of making the ID of the input username, I'm going to make a password. And the label will be for password. And of course, the text of the label should be password too. And now I have two questions here, username, password. But this doesn't look good right now because they're side by side. So we could use something called a break tag. A break tag only has a start tag and just put space between. It's kind of like enter. It's kind of like pressing enter on your computer. So now there's a username and password, and there's a break tag in between. But now they're kind of squished, so we could always put two break tags. And now there's more space in between. And for the select attribute, for the select tag, there's actually no question, they're just options. So we could put some text above it, a paragraph, and it could ask, what is your favorite animal? And we can run it again, and it says right here. And we can change the button text to home. That'll make more sense. And we can put a break tag, so BR, between the select and the home and the button. So they're not right beside each other. And we can put two just to have more space. And so that is a simple form. If you want to add more questions to it, you can, but this is just the basics of a form. And next class, we're going to be moving on to CSS. So it's going to make things look a lot better than this. And yeah, good job. We're done HTML. And that's the end of day 2.